Our panel today, Carol Roth, the creator of the Future File Legacy Planning System, and Doug Flynn is with us from Flynn Zito Capital Management. Good to see you both. And Carol, let's take on the coronavirus first. Susan was talking about this. All the talk now is how everyone in the market is getting past it. What assumptions are you making about growth around the world and how maybe economies come back from all this once we're presumably past it? How do you look at it?
I think it's really difficult to say. I'm actually much more focused on the Fed than the coronavirus. We heard Powell talk yesterday. I think that all of the liquidity that they're injecting into the market is being perceived as QE light. And so I think that the Fed has a lot more to do with this than whatever's happening around the world.
Fair enough. What do you think, Doug? So you basically get your choice. You can take the Fed. You could take the virus. I mean, I suppose, as Susan says, you could look in and try to handicap the political race. But whatever you do, the Dow's up 275. So what do you say?
Yeah, I mean, February normally is not known as a good month, although the last 10 years it's been the best month of the year, and it's shaping up that way again this month so far. I get a little concerned because I'm very close to, you're at like the highest priced earnings ratio you've seen since 2002. So while we have some good corporate earnings and better than we've had and expected, that has to continue. Otherwise, we're really getting close to where I start to get a little concerned.
Okay. Taking the economy's temperature, Fed Chair Jerome Powell facing lawmakers on the Senate Banking Committee today. Edward Lawrence is at the White House with the details. Edward.
Yeah, Melissa, the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell heard some very tough questions from these senators. He did say under oath that the economic expansion will continue. In his view, he also says he's watching the coronavirus very carefully, and he says economic data will come in soon to show the economic impact here in the U.S. But he spent a lot of time talking about what really keeps him up at night, and that is a cyber attack on the banking system. He says that they can stop the cyber attack, but he's worried about the erosion of confidence in the system itself. Now, Powell also talked about the budget. He says that in addition to the debt concern, he says that what scratches his head, or what makes him scratch his head, is health care. Listen.
The biggest issue of our federal budget is just its health care spending. We spend 6 or 7% of GDP more than other countries do. And so it's about the delivery. And that's a lot of money every year that you're effectively spending and getting nothing.
Still, Powell outlined a very strong economy. The ranking member, Senator Sherrod Brown, laid into President Donald Trump during the hearing. He called the president a liar when talking about his blue-collar boom.
He lies about a blue-collar boom. I heard it at the State of the Union that night. I was fairly incredulous. When my own state of Ohio, job growth has been anemic or non-existent. Manufacturing jobs are stalling compared to when he took office.
And Powell testified that wages are rising for the lowest of income earners, beating out the highest of income earners. He also says that people on the fringes of the economy are now getting jobs, which is something that hasn't happened in the past. Back to you.
Edward, thank you. So picking up on that, is President Trump's blue-collar boom a bust? Let's bring Carol and Doug back. Carol, you look at the unemployment rate for Ohio. It was 5.2% in 2016. It is down to 4.2%. So I don't know, Sherrod Brown is wrong about that, but it is above the national average, which is 3.5. What I think is funny is when you look at, Sherrod Brown is the representative from Ohio, and when you look at any of his web pages or the like, he says he's working hard for Ohio. So he thinks that beating down Trump is talking about what a failure his state is, or how he hasn't helped them. I don't know. I'm trying to get my head around this one. Yeah.
There's no way to get your head. I mean, this is the financial gaslighting of America, because the numbers just don't play out. We've seen the people who are at the bottom 50% have had their wealth increase since the end of 2016, 47%. We're at the top, it's only 13%. You've got people getting back into the workforce, unemployment at lows for minorities and women. So this is just another one of those things that isn't true. You don't have to like the president. You don't even have to give him credit, but you cannot deny the statistics. And at the end of the day, people are doing better. If your state is not doing as well as some of the other states, then you need to look at the policies in your particular state.
Yeah, Doug, I mean, wages at the bottom 25% are rising at double the pace of the top 25%.
True. Yeah, I think they're probably cherry picking some numbers here. The Ohio unemployment rate bottomed at 4.0, so it's ticked up there after to 4.2 after a couple of months of some losses. But they're just cherry picking. Overall, absolutely true. The vast majority of the percentage of net worth gains are going to the bottom 50%. Is every person everywhere gaining? You know, that's never going to work. You can always cherry pick things. But overall, there's no doubt that the wind is at our back here, and certainly in Ohio as well.
Carol and Doug, thanks to both of you.
All right.